evening and welcome to the evening news for today, Wednesday, November 15, 2023. I am Jemima Holmes. Thank you for tuning in. Now let's take a look at some of the lead stories tonight. 18.7% increase in murders but serious crimes down, says crime chief. Heightened police presence, road closures, part of Christmas policing plan. Man dies after trucks collide amid thick smoke at West Coast Berbice. CGX down to just one oil block in Guyana. Government warns no extension will be granted. And Venezuela tells World Court it will go ahead with a referendum, despite Guyana's objections. Now for the news in detail. The Guyana Police Force this morning released its annual crime statistics, which show that there has been an overall reduction in serious crimes from January 1 to November 13, 2023. In this Vanu Manikchand report, however, you will hear that Crime Chief Wendell Blanham says the number of murders in the country during this period increased by 18.7%.
During the Guyana Police Force's launch of the Christmas policing plan, head of the Criminal Investigations Department, Wendell Blanham, disclosed that a total of 133 murders were recorded so far this year compared to the corresponding period in 2022.
The number of murders in Guyana increased by 25 in the year 2023 when compared with the previous year, which was 108. In total, male victims amounted to 69.1%, while 30.9% of the victims of homicides were females.
According to the crime chief, the police force is particularly concerned about the high murder rates in the country, especially as it relates to disorderly killing.
So countrywide, 64 of the murders committed during 2023 were disorderly in nature. Despite there being a reasonable decrease when compared with the previous years, it has been the most prevalent type of murder for this period. Over a 5-year period, domestic murders peaked in the year 2023, not this current period. And the main contributory factor is the tragic death of the 20 children during the Mahdia dormitory fire.
Meanwhile, during his update on the crime situation in the country, Blanham disclosed that as of November 13, serious crimes stood at 1,149 compared to 1,397 last year, a decline of 17.8%.
For this period, as you can see, plain robbery, we had a decrease by 15%, robbery and arms, 23%, robbery with violence, 33%, robbery with aggravation, remain constant, larceny from the person, 33%, rape, 11%, burglary, 44%, break and enter larceny, which is the most prevalent offense in Guyana, 15%, kidnapping, we didn't have any for this period, and that gave us in total, a 17% reduction in serious crime for this period.
Regional Division 4A, that is, Georgetown, accounts for the highest number of these crimes at 22%. Reporting for the Evening News, Vanu Manikchand.
With the holiday season being imminent, the Guyana Police Force today rolled out its annual Christmas policing plan, which is aimed at controlling crime and traffic across the country. Key features of this year's strategy include heightened police presence in the streets and communities, as well as limiting of traffic in busy commercial zones. Here is Vanu Manikchand again with the details.
The Guyana Police Force intends to increase deployment of boots on the ground, so to speak, including both uniformed and plainclothes ranks during the day and night. And we're going to work from Mondays to Sundays during the festive season. We'll also increase, we have anti-crime patrols, no time I'm already out on in the streets. We're going to increase deployment of anti-crime patrols during this period. We have fully operational police boots, and if you were to traverse along Region 4A, they've already put down those boots. And these booths will be observed at the various locations across the 12 police regions, especially in the main shopping areas. And the purpose there is for the ranks to receive crime reports and to take appropriate action. We will, during this period, deploy our Marine Patrol, K9 Patrol, and Mountain Patrol.
That was head of the Criminal Investigations Department, Wendell Blanham, on Wednesday morning at the Guyana Police Force's Mess Annex, where the annual Christmas policing plan was launched. For effective policing across the country, all regional divisions will be divided into several sections with focus on the main commercial hubs. During his presentation, Commander of Regional Division 4A, Georgetown, Simon McBean, revealed that the city will be divided into 15 sectors, where foot, bicycle, vehicular, marine, canine, and mounted and drone patrols will increase.
We are planning to put 82 patrols on the road on a daily basis, which will account for over 250 police officers. Traffic, 51 patrols, which will cater for over 90 police officers. We are continuing to work in collaboration with the City Constabulary, our security agencies, our business communities, and other stakeholders to ensure we have a safe festive season. We intend to reduce crime, fear of crime, and traffic accidents during this period.
Meanwhile, head of the Traffic Department, Mahindra Singh, highlighted some of the key efforts to curb traffic congestion during this period, including the closure of some roads in the capital city.
The priority will be Regent, Water Street, Camp Street, Main Street, Hartfield Street, Rob Street, to mention a few, along with Avenue Republic and the adjoining street. Specifically for Christmas Eve and Old Year's, that a need may arise, Regent Street will be closed temporarily between Camp Street and Avenue Republic from 12 hours. This is to facilitate the extensive amount of shoppers and the activity therein. Rob Street, we will ensure there is a no entry. There is a no entry for articulated vehicles, but there is not a limitation for movement of cargo from John Finance. On Rob Street itself, eastbound traffic is the priority. There will be managed movement, not restricted movement, of containerized cargo and support by us for the internal supply chain. CCTV support will come in the form of alerts for congestion, obstruction, public order issues, real-time information. That flow helps us to have our patrols diverted to address the area that is in need at the time.
Reporting for the Evening News, Vanu Manikchand.
A collision between two lorries on the Fowler's Public Road, West Coast Berbice, has resulted in the death of a man. The crash occurred amid the presence of thick smoke in the area. Our Berbice correspondent Andrew Carmichael has that story.
The crash, which occurred at about 16 hours on Tuesday, left one dead and two injured. Dead is 24-year-old Rutherford Chittatan of Williamsburg, Quarantine, Berbice, who was an occupant in one of the trucks, GZZ 2733. Those injured are Mohammed Sankar and Nadir Ali. Reports are that at the time of the crash, there was thick smoke coming from a grass fire, severely obstructing visibility to a section of the road at Fowles Village. According to the police, motor lorry GTT 9027 was proceeding west along the southern drive lane when he encountered thick smoke across the road ahead. The driver said this caused him to slow down due to the poor visibility, and while in the process of going through the said smoke, he felt an impact at the rear of his lorry. The driver said he came to a halt and when he noticed that another truck had crashed into the rear of his vehicle. The driver of motor lorry GZZ 2733 and two occupants who were seated in the cab received injuries. One of those occupants was Chittatan. They were assisted out of the vehicle by other occupants who were in the tray and were transported to the Fort Wellington Hospital, where Chittatan was pronounced dead on arrival. The other two occupants were treated and sent away. Police say both drivers were taken to the Weldat police station, where breathalyzer tests were done and no trace of alcohol was found in their breath. Nevertheless, both drivers were placed into custody. In October 2021, several persons were injured in a trade vehicle accident at the said location at Fowles. On that occasion, a farmer had set fire to his rice field, resulting in thick smoke clouding the visibility of road users. So far for the year, 12 persons have died on the roads in Region 5 compared with 6 for the corresponding period last year. For the Evening News, Andrew Carmichael.
The home of a border market vendor went up in flames last evening, with firefighters being unable to prevent the entire building from burning. Our Berbice correspondent Andrew Carmichael joins us again to report that the fire at number 12 Village, West Coast Berbice, Region 5, has left 3 persons homeless.
Sukwati Ramnarain, called Indira of Lot 64, number 12 Village, West Coast Berbice, was not at home at the time of the fire. The border market vendor's home was completely destroyed. The fire reportedly started at about 18 hours on Tuesday. The vendor and her 2 sons had occupied the building. Her 29-year-old son, Ramdio, told investigators that his mother had left for the border market at about 3 hours on Tuesday, and 2 hours later he and his brother secured their home by switching off all of the electrical appliances, after which they left for a friend's home in the said village, where they spent the entire day. Eyewitnesses say the flames were initially seen on the upper flat of the 2-story building. Ramnarain says she was on her way home when she learned about the fire.
Last night when I left town at the East Coast coming down, and the driver would pick me up in the morning. The driver just called me and tell me that if me home, and I tell him no, that I was coming down from town now. Normally it's come late. And the driver said that if me hear my house up on, and I tell him no, and I just start holler from there. By the time I reach home here, the whole house done fire. Everything burned out. I collect a little box and I throw a little fine jigs because I'm making nothing much a market now. And I collect a little box and 200 and something thousand, plus I get a little fine saving, and my jewel and everything all went in the house, everything burned out. By the time I come, nothing is here.
Neighbors reportedly made attempts to put out the blaze but were unsuccessful. It was firefighters from the Unfawak Fire Station who arrived on the scene and were able to put out the blaze to the 4-bedroom building. However, villagers were able to remove a bus that was parked under the house, preventing any damage to it.
Right now, I don't even get my cent in the name because everything went out. I got nothing home left for what I'm going to market my bag, the money that's here. It's so very hard for put all of it together. Buy, like if I sell and make a day profit, I'll buy a mat, a little something, and bring it holiday coming up. No, I get nothing, not even clothes and put on the skin. Nothing is here, nothing is here. I wash his clothes and neighbor house last week and we're not going to skin. Nothing I have put on my skin or nothing.
The 60-year-old vendor, who has been a widow for the past 20 years, says money she owed to farmers was also burnt in Tuesday night's blaze. While not being able to estimate her losses at the time, Ramnarain says her main priority is to be able to get a roof over her head. She can be contacted on telephone number 675-9448. For the evening news, Andrew Carmichael.
Coming up, government still assessing value of Troy Resources assets seized, says Minister Barrett. And Venezuela tells World Court it will go ahead with referendum despite Guyana's objections. Do stay with us. More news ahead.
Yeah, ready? We are so far.
Look along, me tell you, buy one generator. Now the picnic online test and blackout come and cut off everything.
Sorry, son. Radhika. We go tomorrow.
We go now.
At Sylvie's, we stock products from more than 22 different sectors in mining, construction, food processing, vulcanizing, home improvements, and more.
Are you getting generator?
So this is a 3000 better size generator. This will work your lights, your fan, your TV, and your fridge.
Well, Abby can buy one for Abby and
Yes.
Abby can buy one for Mommy too.
Yeah, and mommy can even key start it, cause all you have to do is hook up the battery and
Visit us today at 31 High in Hatfield Street, where our friendly and knowledgeable team members are willing to assist you. You can also call us on 227-6243 or WhatsApp us on 623-7755 and shop via our website at www.sylviesonline.com.
Abby go buy one down pulling mill.
One plucking machine, one pressure washing machine, one juice dispenser, one engine, one pepper grinding machine, one water pump, a sugar cane juicer, circle sir. We gotta get, alright, food warmer. We gotta get, what are you looking at?
Transitions Light Intelligent Lenses. Pick your color. Choose your style. Available at Optique Vision Care.
Guyanese women from across the country are being empowered to take advantage of the many opportunities presented by the oil and gas industry. Entrepreneurial, leadership, procurement, and management are some of the training programs that women continue to have access to through the Center for Local Business Development and workshops hosted by companies in the industry. As oil production increases, so will these opportunities for Guyanese women.
Experience more than award-winning speed. Way more. Get the best that LTE has to offer on Digicel, officially the fastest mobile network in Guyana. Ookla, the company behind Speedtest, recognizes Digicel as the best mobile network in Guyana. With the best LTE experience and the fastest data speeds, experience it all with Digicel, the award-winning network for everyone, everywhere.
Welcome back. You're watching the evening news. Canadian oil company CGX Energy is currently appraising its oil find at the Way-1 well within the allowed 2-year time period. And according to the government, the company has no other block in Guyana, nor will it be given any extension to do its appraisals. Here are the details from Jarrell Bryan.
During his ministry's end-of-year press conference, Natural Resources Minister Vikram Bharat provided the media with an update on Canadian-owned CGX Energy. It has been a tumultuous year for the company, which has had to relinquish ownership in 2 oil blocks offshore Guyana. According to Bharat, both the Demerara and Berbice blocks are once again in the hands of the government. That leaves CGX with just 1 block, the Quarantine block, in which it is doing appraisal work. The minister made it clear that there will be no extensions granted to CGX for them to appraise this well.
I think it's less than 1,000 square kilometers that is being held by CGX presently, and that is considered to be the appraisal area, which is provided for by the Act. They made a discovery last year. They would have indicated to us by way of a notice that there is the notice of discovery and the possibility of commerciality. They were allowed to do a second well, which acted as an exploration and appraisal well. Hydrocarbons was again discovered, and in the Act they're allowed a 2-year period to continue appraisal in that area only. Only the appraisal area where the discovery was made, nothing other than that. So it's less than 1,000 square kilometers right now. The 2 years have already started, by the way. It will expire in 2024.
And in response to questions about CGX's Berbice port facility, Minister Bharat noted that works have advanced on the project. He also cautioned against putting companies under too much pressure to complete their infrastructural work.
I know for sure, because I'm a Berbice and I frequent the area, that a lot of work has been done. I actually went down to it, but it's sometimes you got to look at how do you utilize it. Because we may be pressuring companies, I'm not saying they don't have to, but we may be pressuring the companies to build the facility. But what do you do with the facility when it's built? How do you get a return on your investment when you build that facility? Even though they would have spent significant money, I'm sure you know where the site is, the road, the bridge, the wharf, everything is built now. But what activity, what economic activity will you pursue for the return on your investment right now?
The CGX Harbour project has been in the works since 2010. It is being built on 30 acres of land adjacent to and north of Crab Island on the eastern bank of the Berbice River. Jarrell Bryan, The Evening News.
Gerald Bryan joins us again to report that the true value of the Troy Resources assets seized by the government, estimated to be worth millions of dollars, is still being assessed. However, in an effort not to let the gold in the area go to waste, the government has started allocating claims in the company's former holdings to small miners. Here are the details.
At a Tuesday press conference, Natural Resources Minister Vikram Bharat spoke about the Troy Resources debacle that has seen the company exiting Guyana owing over $2 billion. Bharat noted that a detailed assessment of the company's assets that has been taken over by the state has not yet been done. However, he made it clear that if one does comparisons with other large gold mining companies, it is likely to be hundreds of millions of US dollars.
Troy Resources, in terms of the value of the property and what we would have acquired, again, is a multi-agency approach. GRA is involved in it. We know that GRA would have secured a number of assets on site in containers. GGMC has taken over the site with the processing plant. But if you look at the establishment of a new, or let's take Zijing, Guyana Goldfield, for example. Guyana Goldfield was acquired by Zijing from Aurora Gold Mine, and Guyana Goldfield is the company. Zijing would acquire that property and the processing plant and everything for, I think, over $200 million US dollars in 2020. Right, if I'm correct. In 2020, over $200 million US dollars for the property with the processing plant and everything. So I'm just giving you an idea. I'm not telling you that's the value of Troy property.
Bharat also expressed worry about low gold declarations and noted that there are several reasons for such. One such reason is Troy Resources' exit. Nevertheless, he said that government has started to allocate claims within the area to small miners.
We have seen also the closure of Troy, and we have mentioned that you know what is the issue with Troy Resources. And in our budgeted declaration for 2023, we were expecting Troy Resources to restart production and to offset liabilities to the government. However, we know what would have happened to the company. However, what we are doing as government, we have identified an area within the Kairuni, the formerly Troy Resources property, and we are allocating claims to small miners, Guyanese small miners. To date, we have awarded over 50 claims to over 50 local miners. Right? And this process is being done by way of a lottery, so it's a fair process.
The minister explained that many of these small miners have already moved into the area and started mobilization. He noted that with small miners constantly complaining about access to land, they now have that opportunity. Troy Resources, the Australian company that at one point was one of the largest gold producers in Guyana, has exited Guyana while leaving behind billions of dollars in owed royalties. The company was sent a demand letter by the Attorney General Chambers since September to pay their debts. Jarrell Bryan, The Evening News.
The Georgetown Public Hospital Corporation has once again advanced its provision of surgical care by performing over 16 knee and joint replacement surgeries this past weekend with the assistance of visiting overseas team, the Women Orthopedic Global Outreach Mission. Kamesi Slow tells us more.
Operation Walk, executed by the Women Orthopedic Global Outreach, has been transforming lives within recent days at the Georgetown Public Hospital Corporation by undertaking more than 60 knee joint replacement surgeries. At a press briefing on Wednesday, Dr. Navendranath Rambaran, Chief Executive Officer acting of the GPHC, spoke of the benefits of this collaboration.
The Operation Walk, which affords a large amount of patients joint replacement surgeries, is something that we have been doing along with similar projects, and it is really aimed at bringing that level of world-class care to our patients that may not be available around the year, but in some cases in limited capacity throughout the year. But when we have these big projects, we're able to do many of these surgeries.
Lead surgeon Dr. Linda Suleiman expressed that it was a privilege to be in Guyana with her 10-surgeon team. She was pleased with the amount of work the team accomplished during the short period.
The last 3 days, this is the most cases we've ever done. We did 62 knee replacements on this trip for 50 patients in the 3.5 days. And our team is a big team. Not only to accomplish this mission, it's not just about the 10 surgeons, but it's our physical therapists, our nurses, our fellows, our residents, everybody part of the logistics team. It takes a lot of preparation and work, and it's really quite fulfilling for us.
The team conducted surgeries over the weekend. Meanwhile, surgeon and head of the Joint Replacement Program at GPHC, Dr. Kalishwar Ramcharan, explained that in the past, patients paid close to $200,000 to have these kinds of surgeries done. However, the government has now made these surgeries free of cost through efforts like the WOGO Operations Walk Team and other local organizations. I am Kamisi Slow, reporting for the Evening News.
Delcy Rodriguez, Vice President of Venezuela, informed the International Court of Justice today that nothing will prevent her nation from proceeding with its December 3, 2023 referendum concerning its claim to the oil-rich Essequibo County of Guyana. Find out more in this Fiona Morrison report.
Guyana requested on Tuesday that the World Court impose emergency orders to halt Venezuela's December 3rd referendum, which seeks to seize the Essequibo region. But according to Venezuela, the demand obstructed the country's internal affairs and constitutional order.
It is unacceptable to attempt to abrogate the Venezuelan constitutional order by preventing the consultative referendum on 3rd of December. Venezuela's historic position is expressly set forth in the 1966 Geneva Agreement, which does not recognize the judicial route as an amicable means of reaching a practical and mutually satisfactory solution for the parties. Venezuela firmly rejects yesterday's statements, which, through crude and childish manipulation, seek to stigmatize the historical tradition and legal doctrine, which in no way represents an exceptional situation and which is shared by the majority of the international community.
The World Court declared in April of this year that it possessed jurisdiction over the matter. In the major case, however, a final decision might not come for years. Venezuela's vice president made it clear on Wednesday that her nation's participation in the court proceedings does not in any way mean recognition of the court's jurisdiction.
Our participation in this hearing is in no way implies recognition of the jurisdiction of this honorable court over the territorial dispute concerning Guyana, Essequibo, or over the so-called provisional measures requested by Guyana in flagrant violation of the United Nations Charter and the statute of this court.
Venezuela has insisted for a long time that the Essequibo area of Guyana belongs inside its borders. The debate has heated up after ExxonMobil found oil in Essequibo in 2015. Because of this, Guyana launched a World Court case against Venezuela in 2018 to establish that the border was established in an arbitration between the then colony of British Guyana and Venezuela in 1899. The Essequibo region makes up more than 2/3 of Guyana. In its most recent complaint, Guyana condemned what it described as Venezuela's sinister plan for seizing Guyanese territory and asked the ICJ to provide urgent protection. It requests an order from the ICJ prohibiting Venezuela from carrying out the referendum as planned. Guyana seeks to obtain from the ICJ a final and binding judgment that the 1899 arbitral award, which established the location of the land boundary between then British Guyana and Venezuela, remains valid and binding, and that the county of Essequibo belongs to Guyana.
Venezuela is insisting on negotiations with Guyana to settle the border controversy. The Guyana government has made it clear that it has no intention of abandoning the legal process that has already begun and engaging Venezuela outside of the court. Meanwhile, in a statement on Wednesday, the government said it remains confident that the ICJ will render a decision in Guyana's favor in accordance with international law.
And now for a look at the bridge reports.
The Demerara Harbour Bridge will be closed to vehicular traffic on Thursday, November 16, 2023 at 4 hours, for a period of 1.5 hours. Meanwhile, the Berbice River Bridge is expected to be closed at 5:55 hours on Thursday, November 16, 2023, also for a period of 1.5 hours.
NSC's Mohammed lauds cricket commentators workshop and Pee Wee girls urge to seize opportunities as tournament kicks off Saturday. Details of these stories and more in the Sportcast, sponsored by MacCorp, coming up on the other side of the break.
Census takers from the Bureau of Statistics are still visiting homes to conduct work as part of the 2022 National Population and Housing Census. Enumeration is ongoing in some areas to ensure that everyone is counted. Verification and quality checks are also being done in an effort to ensure that the highest quality of data is produced from the census. Please cooperate with our census takers and ask them to produce their identification badges. Having been visited by a census taker, it is not too late. Call or WhatsApp us on 592-701-8700 or 592-701-8701 to ensure that you are counted. Census 2022, we counting with you.
From region 1 to region 10.
Superbet, your best bet. Did you know that you have a chance to win up to 15 million with sport betting? Simply place your bets at www.superbet.gy for your chance to be the next lucky millionaire. Must be 18 years and older. Terms and conditions apply. Play responsibly.
John Lewis Styles is proud to introduce for the very first time their own brand of women's clothing. A line of hand-picked styles and designs of modern and contemporary women's clothing. Fashionable enough for the young. Styles that are timeless, and quality that you're accustomed to. Choose from t-shirts, tops, pants, jackets, shorts, dresses and even hoodies. So come see our new women's line on Waterloo Street on the second floor. John Lewis Styles.